Hi, Mom.
Hi, Jordana.
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, well, thank you. I was thinking that we were supposed to be together in Italy this week.
I
Here
know
we are.
our worlds have changed, and now you're up in Long Island and I'm in Miami, but I'm glad we have a chance to connect by Zoom. And I thought, you know, it would be a real Mother's Day treat to interview you because obviously you're my mother. and but you've also had a remarkable career. And I've grown up with you working full time. And now during this shelter at home, we hear so much about parents who, working parents who now are spending time with their children, kind of getting to know the family again. And I started thinking about you and how you managed such a brilliant career and also raised three kids, and we all came out fairly normal. So I just thought it would be a sort of a fun thing to do because so many people know you by your work, but they may not know you as a mom. And it's interesting because in 1975 your pioneering study Goddesses, Whores, Wives, and Slaves was published, and that was just at the time that the women's liberation movement was cresting. And I was 13, and my brother was 10, and my sister was 7. So I guess the logical question is, how did you manage what we now call the work-life balance? Oh, and by the way, I found the book. I hope that's clear. It's a little hard to see with the virtual background, but this book has come out in many different languages, and it was originally published by Schocken, I believe, and it's just been a standard study now for when you're studying classical antiquity or women's studies. So anyway, I wanted to just ask you, how did you do it all?
Um, it was not easy to have a family and a career, and I managed to do both and to have everything that I wanted. Um,
But how? Like, how did you find the time? So I'm curious, like, what made you think you could do it all?
well, I in fact did not do it all because if I'd had the stellar career that I had wanted, I would have taken a job elsewhere and worked my way up the career ladder. But instead, I stayed at Hunter College because I wanted to be near my children while they were growing up. And I suffered a great deal of discrimination as a woman at Hunter College. So I had that battle to fight as well. The CUNY had a law in place where any woman who was pregnant, a student or a faculty member, could not begin a new semester. And I had these children while I was teaching. And so I would have to start my tenure clock each time I had another child. So it took me 15 years to get tenure, which should have taken me 5 years.
That's amazing.
And and the CUNY Women's Coalition mounted the largest class action in America up to that point, and we won. Every woman who had taught or been denied a job at Hunter was given $300, but we had the satisfaction of winning. And lo and behold, Donna Shalala became the president of Hunter.
And let me stop right there. Donna Shalala is obviously a very, we know her from the Clinton administration, and then she was the president of the University of Miami, and now she's a representative for Florida's 27th congressional district. So I've always felt like I knew Donna Shalala, and I remember, my memory is that she's short, right? Like I am, and I thought she's short and powerful. I mean, that woman is.
Well, I don't know anybody who said anything bad about her,
That
even though they certainly whisper about the college presidents that before and after. But everyone I knew loved her.
you sort of talk about uh, the diversion of your career, but in fact, you've been on a career path since you were, um, I don't know, forever. And I'm sort of interested in that because uh, why is it that my grandmother encouraged you to go to Barnard College?
My mother, unusually for that time, attended Hunter College. And she always wanted to teach, even when she had two children. But my father and his mother made it very difficult because they thought it, um, it was humiliating who worked. Nobody would know that she didn't need to work, but she worked because she wanted to. And so she helped me in my career.
Huh.
And in fact, she was one of my babysitters.
And grandma went to Hunter as
My
well, right?
my mother went to
Yeah,
Hunter.
that's pretty unusual that her parents allowed her to do that.
And
And I say allowed, right?
it was hard for her, but she had to work her way through school. Even though Hunter was free, she had to work for her own spending money, but she worked every summer.
Wow, that's really interesting. So you, and then why did you become a classics major? Did you ever think about any other area of study?
Well, I studied Greek and Latin because I already knew French from very well from high school, and I was interested in literature. Actually, the way my scholarly career developed, I became an ancient historian more than a literary person. But when I was younger, I wanted to be able to read Greek and Latin, so I got immersed in that when I was at Barnard.
Um, so I'm wondering, some people want to know, what is it, what are your hobbies? What do you do? I know what you do, but what do you do for fun? Tell our listeners.
Well, I play the harpsichord, and sometimes I play this Madame de Villebranche book, that the sonatas that you gave me, that written by an 18th century woman. I swim every day. I'm in Sag Harbor now. I came out in the middle of March with your brother and his two children, and immediately opened the heated pool. So I swim every day. My newest book is about Benjamin Franklin, the swimmer. Few people know that Benjamin Franklin was an ardent swimmer, and he supported swimming as part of education.
Mm.
So I swim every day. I'm here with two teenage grandchildren, and I teach the 15-year-old Joel. I teach him Latin every morning, so because he may be the very best Latin student I've ever had. He already knows French and Spanish.
Wait a minute, I was a Latin student.
But you weren't my Latin student. You learned at Fieldston. Whereas Joel, there are some gaps in what is going on in education now because it's all done remotely. But I want him to have this experience that it wasn't all a waste, because he learned Latin while the virus was raging, and he couldn't go to school in person.
Well, that's a story.
Yeah.
That's a story. So, I'm going to,
Hebrew, because I'm hoping to participate in my youngest grandson's bar mitzvah. So I'm very busy, and I'm more fortunate than most of my colleagues that I hear about, because I'm not alone. I'm out here in Sag Harbor with an active family, and we're quite busy keeping the family going and keeping the household, managing the household, and taking care of these teenagers.
Well, I want to, since we're going to wrap up this interview, as something that came to mind that I couldn't find a picture of, but I've seen it, of course, is your intrepid flying days. And, I don't know how many people know that you used to fly a little airplane.
A little Cessna.
So you flew a little, and so what, again, sort of like how you came up with the idea of writing about women's history. I'm curious what possibly made you want to start flying, and I don't know, maybe you have a story or two to share about your flying days.
Well, I was never afraid of anything. When I was 12 years old, I used to drive a speedboat as fast as it could go. And then I started driving cars when I was 15. Um, and my first teaching job was in Austin, Texas. There, flying was not an unusual pursuit. It was unusual for women, but I got caught up in it, and I love to fly. Especially, I bought my own plane, and I'd drive. I'd take the plane down to Galveston, and I'd fly low and get the spray of the ocean onto my windshield, and I just loved it. Being alone, being up in the sky, turning off the radio sometimes, and nobody could bother me.
Well, I think that's a good way to conclude this Mother's Day interview with you. I'm glad that we're able to stay in touch, even virtually. We have our family Zoom time, and but this will be recorded, and for time with immemorial, I think we'll be able to listen to you talk about some of the ways that you really conducted a very balanced life, a very enviable life too. And we're doing a lot of reflection these days, sheltering at home. We have a little bit different kind of time on our hands, and I've been thinking about how very lucky I am to have you as my mom.
And I'm so lucky to have you as a daughter. You made me a mother.
So we will be back in touch, and we can talk offline. Love you.
Love you too.